Hey guys, this is Danny with Brevidy, and today we're going to be doing an entire walkthrough of the Brevidy plugin for Premiere. This is the ultimate social editing plugin built into Premiere, and it does everything from those animated TikTok style captions to a full stock media browser with millions of one-click import assets, AI recommended emojis for your entire video. It can automatically generate social clips from your podcast, interviews, or radio shows. And now it can even do smart reframing, where it takes your landscape sequence, automatically converts it into a vertical sequence, following the active speaker, choosing the right camera shots. So lots to unpack here. We've packed so much into this Brevidy plugin. So excited to dive into all the different features that we offer right here at Brevidy. There's thousands of video editors using Brevidy right now to create social content, and we're gonna walk through all of the different features right now. So strap in. Here we go. All right, guys, so we're inside of Premiere Pro here, and we're going to kick things off with our flagship feature, the animated captions. These render directly inside of your Premiere Pro timeline, are 95% accurate with the transcription quality, and have tons of different built-in presets that you can one-click apply directly into your sequence. So really easy to get started with this. You can always save your own presets for later. Super dynamic. Lots of animation involved, and you can really customize and dial this in to whatever type of brand style you're going for. But let's back up here and let's go ahead and restart here and retranscribe our sequence. So we're gonna start from fresh. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this existing layer here. And when you first open up Brevidy, when you don't have a sequence transcribed, this is what you're going to be presented with. So let's go ahead and click on Captions. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure my in and out points are set inside of Premiere. We can just use the I and the O keys to make sure that we have the proper selection selected inside of our Premiere Pro timeline. And then we can go through and set our caption style. Again, lots of different presets to choose from. These are all of the user submitted presets that are displayed here, but we also have our own saved presets. We have our default list as well. And if you're part of a team, you can have your own team shared preset libraries for all the different brands that you work on, shared with all of your different team members. But let's go ahead and select this saved one. We'll go into the transcription settings, and inside of here, most of the time you really don't need to touch this. You can leave the transcription model as best, leave auto detect the language selected, and then you're pretty much good to go to click on create. But if you have a language or a video with some heavy dialect, you might need to go ahead and unclick this and specifically set what language is being spoken. Or if there's multiple languages being spoken inside of your clip, you can go ahead and enable this multiple languages toggle. Now, below that, we have the option to translate the language. So Brevidy can transcribe in over 100 different languages, and it can also translate into over 100 different languages. So you can very easily translate the English video into Spanish. Tons of different options inside of here. Super easy to get started. But let's go ahead and leave this as auto detect language, and we can go down to this custom vocabulary. So a lot of times with transcription models, they get brand names or people's names misspelled or mistranscribed. But with the custom vocabulary, this allows you to add in your own custom words that will be transcribed correctly. So a good example of this is the brand name Brevidy. This is always spelled in the transcription, B-R-E-V-I-T-Y. So we'll go inside of here, drop in Brevidy as our brand is spelled. Maybe set the intensity to be about like 0.6. We can add that. This is going to switch over the model to be accurate, but now when we transcribe this, it will correctly spell our brand name. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. We can set this back to be best, and let's go ahead and click on create. So this is going to go through and it's going to export the audio from our selection. It's going to send it up to our servers to transcribe. And again, we get 95% accuracy when it comes to the transcription quality. So a lot less time spent going through and doing grammar checks and spelling checks. It's very accurate. So as you can see, it's gone through, it's transcribed it, and it's generated this new Brevidy Mogurt layer inside of our timeline. And if we just scrub through here,
that film.
Yeah, so
in Atlanta.
All right, let's talk about
you can see that we already have those super dynamic animated captions rendering directly inside of our Premiere Pro timeline. And we also have the entire transcript loaded up directly inside of our panel here. So we can go ahead and let's pop open the style window. Inside of here, we have all of those same different presets that we can select from. Again, very easy to apply these. All you need to do is just click on one. It's going to load up directly inside of our Brevity options and then also directly inside of our viewer. So there's always a one-to-one parity between what you see inside of the settings in Brevity and then also what's rendered in your Premiere Pro timeline. But if we scroll up to the top here, we can start going through some of these different customization options for the captions that render in Premiere. So at the top here, we have block level settings. So these are applied to the entire block of captions that's currently rendered on the screen here. We can go ahead and set the position. We can have it be at the top or in the middle. We can play around with the padding to really dial in that location as well. And we can probably just set this to be bottom for now. For scale, pretty self-explanatory. This is going to scale up the captions, scale them up, scale them down, super easy. Below that, we have the block animation. This is going to allow you to apply different animations as the entire block of captions comes onto the screen. So we have an intro style here and then also an outro style. So right now the intro style is set to this pop, but maybe we wanted to do like a slide down here. And then maybe for the outro style, we wanted to do like a pop spin. And as we go through and play through this.
Need glasses.
Ooh.
I do.
Me too. Like I'm wearing them right now.
You can see that our animation has changed a little bit. And we can go through and dial in the intensity of these different animations. So if I wanted to have like a big slide down as this came on, and maybe I wanted the speed to be a little bit slower here.
I do.
Me too. Like I'm wearing them right now.
No, I don't.
Really easy to change all those different settings. So feel free to play around with this, dial in whatever type of vibe you're going for. And then below that, we have the option to add a wiggle. So this is just going to add some like dynamic movement to our captions. You'll have it kind of like moving around the position and also the scale. Of course, we can change up these parameters, including the frequency that's moving around and also the intensity of the position and scale. So go through.
I do.
No.
So you can see that we have a little bit of dynamic movement going on there. And of course we can increase these to have much more dynamic movement if we wanted to, maybe increase the frequency.
Me too. Like I'm wearing them right now.
No, I don't actually.
So tons of ways to make it very dynamic and very engaging for your end viewer here. But let's go ahead and detoggle the wiggle. Let's go down to the random rotation. This will add just a little bit of randomness to the rotation of our captions. And as you can see, if we scrub through here, each one of these has a little bit of rotation applied to it. We can always go through and increase the amount of rotation. We can change the seed of the rotation and the randomness. Super easy to do. We'll go ahead and disable that as well. Below that, we have the option to add a background to the entire block of captions here. So we have one enabled right now. If we go through and disable this, it's going to get rid of that background. But we have the option to change the color, opacity, roundness, X and Y padding of this. So tons of different customization, as you can see. Below that, we have the hide during gap. So this is going to hide your captions when there is a large gap in the speech. So if we go ahead and enable this, and we set the gap threshold to be like 0.2 seconds, that means that whenever there is a pause in the dialogue or pause in the speech that is longer than that 0.2 seconds, it's going to hide the captions. That's because we probably don't want captions lingering on the screen if no one's really saying anything. So this is a quick way to dial that in and to hide the captions when there's those gaps in the speech. Below that, we have a lot of different text settings. So these are going to be applied to all of the different text inside of our scene here. So we have all the different local fonts that we have installed on our machine. I've got a lot inside of here, but super easy just to select a new one here. Maybe we go with like chalkboard. And then depending on the font that we have selected, we also have different styles for those fonts. So maybe we go back to Avenir. And then inside of Avenir, I've got a lot of different font styles inside of here as well. Below that, we have paragraph alignment. You can set it to be left, right, or center. We have the option to include punctuation. So if you want to have punctuation showing up inside of the captions that are rendered in Brevity or in Premiere, you can leave this toggled on. If you don't want to have any punctuation, feel free to toggle this off. Below that, we have options for leading and tracking. We could set the skew for the text. We could set the text case if we want it to be all lowercase or maybe all uppercase. So when I change this, you see that we're only changing the word that's not currently being said. The word now in this example is still that pink and it's all in uppercase. So if we go down a little bit further, you can see that we have this active text section right here. And this is going to control all the different parameters for the word that's currently being said. But let's go back up here real quick. We also have different stroke width, stroke color options inside of here. We can change the text color as well. Below that, we have following words. So if we detoggle this, let's go back a little bit in our timeline here. So right now we don't have following words on, and that's why as the words being said, we see them kind of like populating inside of our block of captions here. If we turn this on, we're always going to show the following words in our scene, and we can also set the opacity of the following words if we want it to be a little bit less opaque here. Super easy. Below that, we have drop shadow options. So this will allow you to apply a drop shadow to your text, all your typical drop style or drop shadow styling parameters, including color, opacity, distance, angle, and softness. Below that, we have that section for the active text. So inside of here is where we're going to control all the settings for the word that's currently being said. So at the top here, we have options for the scale. Maybe we wanted to have like the word that's currently being said to have a little bit more size to it as it's being said. We can also add specific animations to the word that's currently being said. So right now we have this slide down animation.
Like I'm wearing them right now.
No.
And you can see that as the word's being said, it kind of like shifts down in Y space a little bit. But there's a lot of different animation styles inside of here. Everything from like pop to sliding left to zooming in to doing like a blur. So lots of different options here. And again, you can play with the intensity and the speed to really make it your own and dial it in for the brand that you're creating this for. Below that, we have same options for tracking. Since we increase the scale of our active word, we might want to increase the tracking a little bit here as well. And then same thing for skew. We can add some skew, maybe add like a little italic effect to the word as it's being said if we want. And then we get into the text case as well. So if we wanted these all to be lowercase, we can go ahead and set the active word to be lowercase as well. Now it's going to update just like that. Tons of options for changing the color. You can always enter in your brand text code inside of here as well, but go ahead, maybe change this to be like a blue. Cool. Same thing with stroke width and stroke color. Maybe we wanted the word that's being said to have a little bit of maybe like a white outline around it. Very easy to set that up. And then below that, we have options for the word background. So let's go ahead and enable word background. And this is going to add a background to the word that's currently being said as well. So maybe we wanted this to be like some type of orange, red. Go ahead and go and select. And we can always go through and change up the opacity of this word background, the roundness, the padding of it. We can have it wrap its height if we want. And then we can also even animate the word background as it's being said. So there's just so many parameters and like things that you can dial in here. Don't get overwhelmed by the amount of customization. A great way to start is to browse some of the different presets that are available. If you just hover over them, you'll get a little preview. And then find one that you're going for. You can go ahead and select it. It's going to load up all the different parameters. And then from here, you can go ahead and really kind of like style it to be your own. Like maybe you want to use your own custom font inside of here or change up the text color a little bit. All that's really easy to do when you start from a pre-existing preset. But let's keep going down here. Below that, we have our final text styling option. And this is going to be for highlighted text. So right now we don't have any highlighted text inside of our scene. So let's go ahead and change that. If we go to this highlight tool right here, we can go ahead and select it. Then we can go ahead and just click on any word and to automatically make it a highlighted word. So maybe we want to go back to this preset here. And so now all the highlighted words, all the regular words have like this pink color, but as soon as we get to this highlighted word, it's going to have this special styling that we set up. And we can control the styling of these highlighted words directly from this style window. This works really good if you have like specific words you want to add some extra emphasis to, or if there's like two different speakers and you want one of them to be one color and one of them to be a different color. Very easy to set that all up. Same styling options that you have in the active text. We can set up different word backgrounds that are only for highlighted words, animations, text case, skew, color, stroke width, stroke color, all of that stuff can be controlled directly from inside of here. So when you've dialed in your preset and you're dialed in your settings, you want to save it as a preset, all that you need to do is just go ahead and click on this new button. This is going to give you a quick little preview of what your preset will look like, and we can go ahead and save this to a group if I'm part of an organization or a team. So if I'm on a team plan, I'm able to save this to one of my previously created groups, and now this preset is going to be shared with all of my different editors, with my entire team, so that everyone is operating on the same like styling and the same preset that we set up here. Go ahead and give this a name, click on save, and now we got that new preset saved directly inside of our group right here. So let's go back into the transcript editor and get into some of the format settings inside of here. So let's click on this text tool. And now we can quickly and easily turn our amount of lines down to 1. And this is going to adjust everything so that we now have only 1 line of text for all of our captions here. And we can go ahead and click on the format captions button. This will go through and like kind of break up our lines for legibility when there's speakers that are changing, or if it's an end of a sentence, or if there's a big gap in the speech. We'll go ahead and split up the captions very quickly using this format captions button. We also have the opportunity to increase the amount of characters per line. So if we wanted to have like a really long line here, maybe we're doing like a landscape style video and we don't want to have just like a short amount of characters per line, we can go ahead and increase this, maybe click on that format captions button again. Super easy to just reformat everything. You don't have to like rebuild the text layers or wait for it to update. It's super quick and you can do this all automatically. Of course, we have undo and redo here as well, just to go back and forth between our different text edits. And then we also have the find and replace option here. So maybe there was a word that was misspelled correctly or incorrectly. You can go ahead and type in that word, type in the word that you want to be replaced with, and then you can go ahead and just update either the selected one or update all of them through here. So if we jump into our text transcript here, we can go ahead and quickly start editing this. If there are any like mistakes in misspelling, or if we need to reformat the words, we can edit this just like a normal Word doc. So as you can see, I've placed my selection right inside of here. And if I use enter, this is going to break that line up into now 2 different lines in that same block. If I hit enter again, it's going to send it onto its own line here. And this just makes it like really easy to like mouse around or use your arrow keys to kind of jump around the transcript here, break things up, combine different lines together. It makes it just like editing a normal Word doc, and it's super quick to update all this stuff. Of course, we can always do some different text changes here as well. Like maybe we want to get rid of these 3 little dots right here. We can just go ahead, delete these. Now everything updates super quickly. Maybe we wanted to have all right be on its same line here. Just like that, using the arrow keys, using your enter and backspace keys, super quick to update all of this stuff. All right, guys, so that was the text tool. Super easy to just edit this thing just like a Word doc. All that you need to do is just mouse around or arrow key around, make your edits, use your enter and backspace keys. So really easy. So we already covered how to manually click on words to make them highlighted, but we can also use AI to automatically suggest some highlighted words for us. So if I click on this, it's going to look at our transcript using AI and try to identify a bunch of keyword-worthy words for our transcript. So it's gone through and it's automatically highlighted some different words inside of our transcript, including Studio Ghibli, Spirited Away. So this is just a really quick way, if you don't want to go through and manually click on words, to just have some of that work offloaded to AI. So really cool here. Now let's go ahead and jump into our retiming tool. Brevidy does a really good job of being highly accurate when it comes to transcribing your sequence, and all the way down to the word level sub-second timing to make sure everything's very synced with your dialogue. But sometimes you have the dialogue not exactly synced with the captions, and you need to adjust the timing of the words as they exist inside of Brevidy. So let's go inside of here. As you can see, I have some different shot changes going on in here. Maybe like right here, we do a shot change. Let's go ahead, zoom in here. So maybe I don't want totally to be ending kind of like in between these 2 different shot changes. I really want this block of captions to end exactly on that scene change here. So we can go ahead and with our highlight tool selected, we can go ahead and make a selection in our transcript for where that timing we want to adjust exists. So I've selected these different words. We're gonna go back to the retiming tool, click on start retiming, and this is going to generate a bunch of different PNGs for every single word that we had selected inside of our transcript here. So right now we see this word totally, and we have our word yeah, we have all these different words existing as PNGs inside of our timeline now, and these are synced up to how the times exist inside of Brevity. So let's say, for example, I wanted this block of captions, I wanted this to end as soon as we go to this shot change here. Let's go ahead and just adjust the ending time for this totally word right here. And then we're going to go ahead and move up this next word all the way until right here. Go ahead and maybe just bring him over just a tiny bit more there. So now as we go to this next shot, we have the word spirited coming up. And now all we have to do is click on confirm. So as soon as we click on confirm, it's going to go through and update all of the times for our different words that we had selected in our transcript here. So now we have the word totally ending on that frame and the word spirited coming up right as that shot changes. And you can use this retiming feature to adjust any of the different timings for various words inside of your transcript. Very easy to just like shift the timing of the PNGs over, and that's going to update it all exactly inside of Brevity. So that's the retiming tool. Let's move on to our next tool inside of Brevity for the captions. This is going to be the cut tool. So the cut tool allows us to quickly cut out silences that exist inside of our transcript. So maybe we wanted to tighten this up a little bit. There's some big gaps in between the dialogue. We want to cut those out. So we can use this cut tool. If we go ahead and like browse through our transcript here, you can see that we now have these little red markers popping up for when there is a silence that fits this criteria. So what is this criteria? Well, we have threshold and buffer. So threshold is going to be the threshold for which we start cutting out silences. So if there is a gap in between the dialogue that is longer than 0.32 seconds, or longer than 0.2 seconds or 0.17 seconds, we're going to show it inside of our transcript. And now we can go ahead and just click on this to automatically delete that section right there. Now the threshold is going to indicate when we start cutting out these silences, and the buffer is going to add just a little bit of buffer on both ends so that we're not like cutting into someone's speech here. Now we have all of these different little silences showing up here. We can go through and manually click on these to delete them, or we can go ahead and click on this remove silences button. This is going to create a copy of our sequence here, and it's going to remove 9 of those silences. So let's go ahead and click on confirm. Now it's going through, it's removing all of those different silences from inside of our transcript here, and also from the sequence. And now we have this new cloned, this new copied sequence with all of those different silences removed. And all the timing of the words stays in tip-top shape. It's cool. So that's the cut tool. Now let's go ahead and cover one of the last things of the captioning interface here, and that's how to caption different segments inside of the same sequence. So let's go back to this clip right here, and let's delete this transcript. We can either do that by going to our little menu here and clicking on the delete button, or we can go ahead and just delete it straight from here and click on resync. So now that we're back to kind of this home page, let's say that we wanted to create captions for the intro of this video and also for the outro, but we don't want to create captions in the middle. So let's go ahead and set our in and out points here. We'll go ahead and click on captions, leave all of those settings. By the way, you can also upload an SRT here if you have one of those. We'll click on create. It's going to go through, do the same captioning process, render out our sequence, send it up to our server for transcription, and then generate that new caption layer inside of here. But we figure out, hey, you know what? We actually wanted to have captions at the end of this segment as well. Well, let's go ahead and set a new in and out point at the very end here. And we're going to go up to this top right button and click on this add transcription button. This is going to allow us to transcribe additional sections of our sequence all through the Brevity interface here. So we can use the same transcription settings, click on create, and now we've got 2 different segments inside of our sequence that have been captioned. Now, maybe we realize that, you know what, we wanted captions for the entire thing. That's fine too. Let's just go ahead and select the entire sequence here. Go back to the add transcription button, click on this create, going to do the whole same thing again. So this allows you to really kind of create captions for anywhere inside of your sequence. Now, something to be aware of, if you are making edits to the underlying sequence here, like if I cut out some of these different clips or added some new clips in, I need to go through and retranscribe that as well, just so I can keep everything up to date. Brevidy doesn't know if you are adding and changing around the actual clips and the audio from inside of your sequence. So just going through and clicking on this add transcription button, retranscribing your sequence will keep everything nice and polished here. Cool. And one last thing for all of you who are looking to export an SRT directly from Brevidy, very easy to do that. Just go ahead and click on those 3-dot menu, click on export SRT, and this will export the SRT exactly how it exists in our transcript here. So if you are like editing SRTs and you want to have like a certain number of lines or a certain number of characters per line in your SRT, Brevidy is a great solution for that because you can do all that formatting through the text tool here. And it's really easy to, again, format all of this, make sure everything's nice and buttoned up, and then go ahead and click on that export SRT button. That's going to export it directly to your downloads folder. All right, folks, so we just went through all of the different caption settings inside of Brevidy, learned how to do those really awesome TikTok style animated captions, customize them to your heart's content, save them as presets, edit the timing, edit the words, export SRTs, covered it all. Now let's move on to Brevidy Media. So Brevidy Media Browser is a full-fledged media browser that comes built in with Brevidy. This allows you to browse through a variety of different stock assets and one-click import them directly into Premiere. So if we pop open our Brevidy Media Browser, we can go ahead and start searching through different categories inside of here. So let's type in like editing, for example. As soon as we type that in, we're going to start getting search results here. So I have different categories set up for videos, for GIFs, for images, for emojis, for audio. And in each of those categories, we have different providers that we can browse from. So with videos, we have Pexels and Pixabay inside of here. For GIFs, we have the Giphy library. For images, we have Pexels, Unsplash, Pixabay, Noun Project. Emojis, we have different emojis from Google. We have Google animated emojis, Apple emojis, Twitter emojis, Facebook emojis, a whole bunch of different sound effects as well through Openverse. So tons of different free stock videos that you can one-click import directly into Premiere. And we're going to show you how to do that. So let's go over to images here, for example. Maybe we want to showcase this one. So we'll go ahead, select it, and we'll go ahead and click on continue. We can also change the format if we don't want the original size. Click on continue, and we're just going to go ahead and click on insert as well here. So this automatically imports it directly into our Premiere Pro project and into our sequence. It's going to save that actual media file right next to the project file, so everything's nice and tidy. And if we go ahead and deselect this, we're going to go back to our browsing menu. So maybe we want to import this one from Giphy here as well. Go to like over here, click on continue, insert, great. But, you know, I actually really wanted this to be full screen. So this is where Brevidy Media Browser really gets some power. If we select any clip from our Premiere Pro sequence, or even multiple clips, we're able to go ahead and apply some different animation settings to bring this on, give it some constant animation, and also an outro animation as well. This allows you to just quickly give it a little extra pizzazz, a little extra flair when you're bringing on different logos, assets, videos, images in Premiere, but you don't have to go to like the Premiere Pro keyframe editor, or you don't have to jump into After Effects. You can do it all directly through here. So let's go ahead, let's just select this one. Let's say that we want the position of this to be full screen. We want the intro animation to be, let's see here, we got some bounce animations, some fade animations. We can toggle between lists and also this little like demonstration grid view. So I kind of like this scale rotate one. Let's do that for the intro. For the constant, let's do maybe just a simple zoom, like a zoom in subtle here. And then for outro, you can do something more intense, maybe fly swivel intense. Click on update. This is going to apply all of those keyframes to that selected clip directly in Premiere, so we don't have to go and do it ourselves manually. And just like that, we now have a nice little subtle zoom in effect in here. We have got this like cool rotating intro animation. And then at the end,
Spirited Away is like one of my favorite films.
we got that fly swivel out. So really cool, really fun. We can always like change this up to, maybe we wanted this to do like a slide down fast as the outro. Click on update. Gonna go through, rebuild all of those keyframes for us.
Yeah, totally.
Spirited Away is like one of my favorite films.
Awesome. So really easy to do this. And this works with any clip in Premiere. It doesn't just have to be the stock assets that you imported through Media Browser. This will work with anything. So like here is a clip in our timeline, for example. We could go ahead and reposition this. We can add different intro animations, constant animation, outro animations. It's really nice, really powerful. And back in the browser view, you've got so many different providers, like literally millions of stock assets that you can use in any project. If you're unsure of something, just click on it. You can go see the actual license for every single image or asset that's inside of here. So really cool here. The emojis are awesome, by the way. Like, it's awesome to have just like so many different flavors of emojis, all of which are one-click import. The Google animated ones are actually really cool here. Like, let's do this rocket one. So click on this guy. We'll go ahead and click on continue. For the position, let's set it to be caption relative. So we're going to put it right above the captions here. We're going to have it bounce in maybe. For constant, we can do this little swivel maybe, like a very small, subtle swivel. And for the outro, we'll do a, let's do scale. Let's do a scale rotate pop. And we'll go ahead and click on insert here. This is going to build it and put it directly inside of our Premiere Pro timeline here. Now, as you can see, let's go through and play this.
Favorite films ever. And Princess Mononoke. You showed me that film.
Yeah.
Super cool. I probably don't want that bounce down. Maybe I just want like some simple fade down really quick. Go ahead and click on update here.
Favorite films ever. And Princess Mononoke. You showed.
So sick. Cool. So that is how you are able to quickly browse, import, and animate any clip from Brevidy Media Browser. And this works really well with the transcript interface in the regular Brevidy captions. So as soon as I have a clip selected here, I need to make sure that I'm in this media tool. But when I select a clip, I'm able to view it as it exists inside of our transcript. So this makes it really easy to like time things up perfectly inside of our timeline so that the stock assets are timed to the specific words that are being said here. So like maybe, for example, we wanted this clip to come on right when he says all right. So let's go ahead and drag it over there. It's going to go ahead and update everything for us. We probably want this to be full screen here. Click on update. Great. And maybe we want it to end a little bit shorter here. Sweet. And it just keeps everything really nice and tidy, nice and timed up, super easy to use. So last thing a part of Brevidy Media is going to be this media tool. So we just covered kind of like how you can drag around the timing of selected clips so that it's synced up really well with the dialogue. But we're going to show you how to get AI suggested assets through Brevidy. So let's go ahead and click on the suggest media button. And now we have a bunch of different of those providers that we can choose from, and AI is going to look at our transcript and try to suggest various segments in our transcript that could be represented by a stock asset. So this works really well with emojis, for example. So let's set it to be Google here. We'll set the position to be above captions, and we'll give it a little bit extra context, like make them extra creative or something like that, and cover the entire segment. Or cover the entire, yeah, let's do segment. For animation, we can have it be any type of intro, constant, and outro animation. I'm just gonna leave this as blank for now, and we're gonna go ahead and click on generate. So we got all of these different suggested emojis popping up here. We can go ahead and like hover over them to get a better view. And as you can see, they're all like blinking right now. This means that they're pending. We haven't actually imported them into our sequence yet, so they're just pending here. So we can go ahead and click on this. This is gonna load up inside of our Brevidy captions. We can go ahead and click on insert here. This is going to insert it directly into our sequence. And now it's right above the captions, super relevant to what's being said. But if we don't want to go and manually import all of these, we can go ahead and click on this import pending button. And this is going to go through and automatically import all of those different emojis directly into our sequence. And so within a couple of less than a minute, you have all of these relevant emojis coming in here that are super dialed into what's being said in here. It's like asking, does Tom Holland need glasses? We have a glasses emoji. Wearing them right now. We got the monocle emoji. And if we don't like the way that this looks, let's just go ahead and re-roll here. So we'll go ahead and delete all of these. And we'll go back to suggest media. We'll just run this again. Let's do emojis here. And we can leave, let's say, make them extra funny. Cool. Click on generate here. So you can see I actually left this on accident with the position being center here. But let's go ahead and import all of these. So we can go and just select all of these. You can see that in the media browser, it says 11 items are selected. We can go ahead and set the position to be above captions here. And let's give them all a really quick fade down. And then maybe all a really quick, let's do scale fast. Click on insert. This is going to go through and update the position and the keyframes for all of those selected clips, all of those selected emojis here directly inside of Premiere, all automatically for us.
Spirited Away is one of my favorite films ever. And Princess Mononoke. You showed me that film.
Yeah, so
in Atlanta.
Atlanta, we have the peach coming up. So really fun, really easy to do here. We can always go ahead and readjust these if we want. You can even adjust them directly from inside of here to line them up a little bit more correctly. You know what? Let's go ahead and actually get some more emojis as well. So it's just really fun to have AI do all of this work for you. You don't have to worry about going to a website and finding all of these assets yourself or finding the certain segments yourself. It'll just go through and do all of this for you. So really fun, really easy. And you can always re-roll this too. But yep, that's Brevity Media Browser. That's how we can get suggested AI emojis and all types of videos inside of here as well, or all types of assets. It doesn't need to be videos. It could be suggested GIFs, images, emojis, all recommended for us, all imported directly right inside of Premiere here. So sick. All right, folks, we're moving right along here with the full complete Brevity tutorial. I know we're unpacking a lot of different features, but we're about to get into one of the coolest ones that we just dropped. This is called auto crop. So what auto crop does is it will take your landscape style video and automatically convert it into vertical. And I know what you're thinking. Premiere already has this built in. No. This tool works much better because what it does is it will analyze your footage, look for all of the different people inside of your footage, and then will run a machine learning model to determine the probability of each of them speaking. So ultimately, it will cut to the active speaker in every single shot, making sure that it's all framed perfectly and dialed in for vertical. So let's go ahead and open up our Brevity auto crop here. At the top, we can set the output. Most of the time you're going to be doing 1080 by 1920, but you can always convert it into horizontal, square, or portrait through here as well. Then for the selection preset, we have different options for how frequently we're going to be cutting between the different speakers inside of this scene. So before we get too far along, let's actually go through this video here. So as you can see, lots of different shot changes, lots of different people talking over each other. If you were to manually go through and try to cut this up for vertical, you'd find yourself having to constantly be cutting to different people as they start speaking and stop speaking, framing them incorrectly. And if this was a handy cam footage, then it'd be even harder because now there's all this types of movement. Brevity auto crop solves this entirely. So the selection preset is going to be how frequently it's cutting between different people. We could just leave this as default for now. For crop movement, this is going to be how tracked we are to the person's face. So static is not going to really have any keyframes. It's just going to frame that person in on the first couple of frames and then leave the framing there throughout the duration that person is the active subject. Tracked is going to be as the person's moving their head around, we're also moving the framing around, which can be a really cool effect. And dynamic's usually a good healthy mix. So let's go ahead and we're going to make sure that our in and out points are set here. We're going to go ahead and click on run auto crop. So as you can see, we're uploading that video to our servers right now. We're starting our auto crop job. And again, the way that this works is it will go through and it will first analyze all the different shots inside of a scene. So whenever the camera changes, we have a different shot going on, and that will first detect all of those different shots. And once it's figured out all the different shots, for each one, it's going to go through and analyze people's faces. It's going to go look at the footage and identify who all the different faces are. And then it's going to take those faces and it's going to run it through a machine learning model that does automatic speech detection. So we get a probability of how much these people are speaking. And based off of all that data, we assemble a final crop that ends up looking just like this. So it's gone through, it's cut up all of our different clips here. And as you can see, we're in beta right now. So this just dropped. So if you're using this, please give us some feedback because we're trying to make this as powerful as possible. But it's gone through and it's cut up this clip for all of these different shot changes, when the speaker changes, and it's automatically framed everybody in perfectly. So as the speaker changes and as the shots change, we get a new crop and a new framing that is just perfect for social. And again, you could imagine doing this all manually. It would just take so much time, and this did it in like less than a minute. So let's play through here. Incredible. So yeah, that's pretty much what we get through the Brevidy auto crop here. Again, super powerful and super great at taking that landscape style footage and automatically turning it into vertical. So very psyched about this one. This one just dropped like a few days ago. Please go and give this one a try. But next we're going to cover how this all comes together into AutoCut. AutoCut will go through and automatically generate social ready clips directly from your interview or podcast or radio show. So let's get into it. So let's go ahead and open up this AutoCut tool. As you can see, I have a new sequence open here. I don't have any captions generated yet, and I have about a 35-minute long podcast, or interview rather, with Dario Amodei, who's the CEO of Anthropic. Let's go ahead and click on this AutoCut button. So this is going to open up the AutoCut interface. And inside of here, we can select which aspect ratio we want the generated clips to be in. We're gonna leave this as 9:16. We're able to set the layout, kind of like how all of those clips are arranged in that 9:16. We've got fit blur background. So that means it's just going to scrunch down the landscape video and it's going to have a blurred background in the back. Fit no background is going to do the same thing, but no kind of blurred background. Fill is going to just fill it normally. And then we also have auto crop inside of here. So we're gonna set this to be auto crop. Below that, we can set the caption preset. We can just let's do one of the saved ones here. Let's go ahead and do maybe this example one. For the transcription, we can use just best here. And then below that, we have some actions that we can do as well. So what are actions? Well, these are just like extra steps that we can do for every single clip that it pulls out from our long form piece of content. So again, we're going to use AI to look at this long form piece of content, and we're going to ask it to pull out several different 30 to 90 second long clips that are perfect for social. Think like good opening hook, continuous conversation, ending on a conclusive statement. That's kind of the criteria that we're going for. So once we pull out all of those clips, we're also able to automatically remove any silences inside of here, suggest some emojis that can go along with those clips, suggest additional like video clips to go along with it, and then also suggest highlighted words. So let's go ahead and enable all of these. We'll go ahead and click on create. All right, guys, so AutoCut just finished running here, and out of this like 30-minute segment that we ran it on, we got a total of 7 different social clips all pulled out into new sequences for us. All of these have recommended emojis. We have highlighted words going on inside of here. We have the silences removed. It's automatically framed the active speaker in here correctly. And this has done it for 7 of these different clips. So let's take a look at some of these. As you can see, it's going to title the sequence for what is being talked about in the clip that I recommended. So this clip is around 49 seconds, talking about how AI is going to change the world and how things are maybe going to be different. It's actually a really good opening hook here too.
Structure of a society that has built powerful AI is just going to have to be different. If we go back to John Maynard Keynes, right, economic possibilities.
So again, 7 of these different clips have been pulled out, and we've got like just so much time has been saved by running auto crop and auto cut here together. Again, everyone is framed incorrectly. We got relevant emojis popping up here, highlighted words, captions that are being generated. And so let's go into how we can actually work with the generated output from AutoCut here and adjust it to add our little bit of, editorial finesse to it. So let's pop open this first one here, and we can go ahead and take a look at how our transcript inside of Brevidy looks. So you may have noticed that when we opened up this sequence, we have a bunch of like negative words in here, like meaning that these are happening before the actual clip comes in. And at the end, we also have some of that room as well, where we got some of these captions that aren't actually showing up inside of our sequence, but they do exist here. So this allows us as editors to adjust the starting and ending points of these suggested clips really easily using Brevidy. So we can use this cut tool here. And the cut tool, yes, allows us to remove silences, but it actually also allows us to adjust the ending and starting points of these sequences. So let's go up here. This starts out with the structure of a society that has been built. Powerful AI is just going to have to be different. So maybe we want to start actually with over the long run. I think that's a better opening hook for this segment here. So with that cut tool selected, I'm going to go up to where I want this to actually start. Go ahead and click here, and you'll get a notification here saying this is going to cut negative 0.9 seconds from the start of a timeline. So it's going to readjust things for us. So we go ahead and click on confirm. And as you can see, we've now adjusted the clips here. So the new starting point is going to be over the long run. And so we can go ahead and alter and tweak the starting opening hook and also when this clip ends. So now let's go ahead and give this a play.
Over the long run, the structure of a society that has built powerful AI is just going to have to be different.
Great opening hook, right? Pulls the end for sure. And now we can do the same thing with the end here. So we can go all the way to the end of the clip here, and we're talking about economic survival. Some heavy stuff here, guys. But maybe we wanted it to actually end a little bit sooner, for example. So we can go ahead and have it end after this question, maybe. So we can go ahead and click on this. It's going to remove some time from the end here. And as you can see, it's now adjusted our clips here so that the actual video ends.
Is about different things.
Yeah. So really easy to adjust this auto cut once it's been generated. But the real take home here is that, it's done all of this work for us. It's pulled out these different clips. It's given us a great starting point to then go ahead and tweak this and really kind of alter it for social. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this has been a long video. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You are now a better social editor, and you should be taking advantage of our 1-week free trial for Brevidy. Check it out. Again, thousands of video editors are already using this to save a bunch of time. And if you're creating social content, this is the best tool that you can use. Go give it a free trial, go test it out, and let us know. We're always listening to customers, learning how we can improve the product, add new features. A lot of that comes from talking to you guys. So anyways, thank you guys so much. This has been Danny with Brevidy. Peace.